Barcelona has reclaimed its throne under Hansi Flick's leadership. The Catalan Giants have secured a domestic treble this season: La Liga, Copa del Rey, and the Spanish Super Cup. The attacking trio Raphinha, Lamine Yamal, and Lewandowski dazzled, while Ferran Torres emerged as a super sub for Barcelona, delivering crucial goals off the bench. But as Barcelona look to the future, questions arise. Should they bolster their attack further? And if so, who fits Flick's high-octane system better, Diaz or Marcus Rashford? Flick's Barcelona is a dynamic unit that blends German verticality with Catalan control, and it's been good enough to deliver a domestic treble in his first season. Unlike the rigid tiki-taka of past eras, Flick's system is designed to be aggressive, vertical, and positionally fluid. The midfield triangle, Frenkie, Olmo, and Pedri, constantly rotates. The fullbacks invert, then switch roles to stretch play or to protect transitions. Pressing at Barcelona is immediate upon loss. Raphinha or Pedri and even a Ferran Torres press in wide triangles, forcing errors near touchlines. Build-up phases switch between a 3-2-5 and 2-3-5 shapes. De Jong acts as a press bait, dragging forwards out of shape to create central passing lanes, and wingers like Lamine Yamal are crucial to width and unpredictability. He hugs that line initially, but frequently cuts inside to overload what the kids like to call Zone 14. Despite Barcelona's brilliance this season, they do remain overly reliant on their right-hand side, which is obviously the side that Lamine Yamal plays on. Of course, totally understandable, but with the left-hand side and Raphinha, who has been absolutely phenomenal for Barcelona this season, it does remain a little bit underpowered on that side, including at left-back. This imbalance is reflected in heat maps and attacking patterns. Barcelona tilt heavily to the right-hand side, making their play somewhat predictable at times when they can't break lines early. So on one hand, while the system has led them to a domestic treble, there is one tactical gap that even Flick can't ignore, and that's the lack of a true explosive left winger. This isn't just a matter of squad depth, it's a structural flaw in Flick's otherwise elite tactical engine. Barcelona needs a left-sided attacker who can press like Ferran, dribble like Yamal, and finish like a Lewandowski. Someone who can give balance, aggression, and end product. And this is where the names Diaz and Marcus Rashford enter the conversation. But who fits the system at this moment in time? Let me know. Now, Marcus Rashford is an explosive forward who blends pace, directness, and physicality with a touch of chaos. He's not just a winger. At 6'1", Rashford can play left wing, second striker, or even as a centre forward in transition heavy games. When Rashford is confident, he's unplayable. His best asset, space. He thrives in vertical systems where he can attack the half spaces at full sprint. His ball striking ability is among the best in Europe, often scoring from the wide left positions after cutting in on his right foot. His style is less possession based than Barcelona's typical profile, and he averages around 3.2 shots per 90 minutes, which puts him in and around the 84th percentile amongst forward, 2.1 successful dribbles, which is around the 75th percentile, and 0.36 non-penalty XG per 90. Rashford is a chaos merchant. He is a player that pulls defenses apart with deep runs, attacks the blind side of defenders, and he will add the unpredictability in the final third. Crucially, he provides verticality, something Barca have lacked since someone like Dembele left for PSG. Tactically though, Rashford's game has got limits. He's less effective in tight spaces, often struggles against low blocks, and doesn't contribute consistently in the build-up phase. His pass accuracy is at around 78%, and his pressing numbers are noticeably lower, around 11.7 pressures per 90. Under Erik ten Hag and then Ruben Amorim, Rashford was encouraged to press more and participate in structured build-up, but this adaptation has been very inconsistent, hence the reason why he went out on loan to Unai Emery's Aston Villa. His defensive work rate and positional discipline have improved over time, but he's still not a natural in high possession systems. Could he adapt to Barcelona? Possibly, but he'd likely need to play either as a left forward in a 4-3-3 hybrid, or even as the main striker in that system. Where he can attack space behind the backline, he's more suited to games where Barca aren't necessarily dominating 70% of the possession, which is very, very rare. The upside with someone like Marcus Rashford, you're getting a proven match winner. The downside, he needs a system that plays to his strengths, which Flick's positional play may or may not offer consistently, and definitely not right away. Rashford's link-up play is also quite limited. He averages around just 22 passes per 90 and completes only 0.7 progressive passes per game in comparison to someone like Diaz, who's 1.9. Diaz is a Colombian winger whose game is built on raw explosiveness, elite agility, and positional intelligence. At 28 years of age, he's entering into his prime, and under both Klopp and now Arne Slot, he's grown beyond just a flair player. He's become a complete left-sided forward. Now, when we're looking at his playing style, Diaz operates almost exclusively on that left-hand side, using his tight control and acceleration to isolate defenders 1v1. He has, of course, played on the right and through the middle for Arne Slot this season. He's a player who prefers to receive the ball wide, often hugging the touchline before darting inside onto his right foot. His signature move, the outside to inside diagonal drive, followed by a curling shot or a quick layoff. Statistically, Diaz ranks among the top wingers in Europe for progressive carries, successful dribbles, and touches in the final third, which ranks him at lowest in the 89th percentile for each of these categories. He's not a volume passer like a traditional Barcelona winger. He only completes around 83% of his passes, but they are progressive. He breaks lines with his movement more than his distribution. One underrated aspect, his pressing. Diaz averages 18.3 pressures per 90 minutes, higher than any current Barcelona forward, and wins the ball back in the final third consistently. Tactically, under Flick's 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, Diaz's tendency to invert an open space for an overlapping fullback like Balde is ideal. He draws defenders wide, destabilizes low blocks, and he creates cutback opportunities. Imagine Yamal creating from the right and Diaz stretching the left, or vice versa. That's what we call balance. But he is not without flaws. His decision-making in tight spaces still needs polish. He can hold the ball for too long, especially against deep defensive blocks, and sometimes he delays the final ball. Yet, in open systems with high tempo, like Flick's transitional blueprint, he could and can thrive. While both players are generally available, Diaz has demonstrated better resilience, especially this season, maintaining form through long stretches of the campaign. Rashford, though, has dealt with minor injuries and fatigue, particularly during high-intensity periods, and, of course, that mid-season switch to Aston Villa is, of course, playing a part. An important consideration for Flick is mental resilience. Diaz has been standout in big games, delivering goals and assists against top opponents like Bayer Leverkusen or Manchester City this season. He thrives under pressure. Rashford, on the other hand, has had a mixed season mentally. His form dipped after the internal friction at Manchester United, and while still capable of brilliance, questions remain about his consistency and confidence under tactical systems that limit his freedom. When we, of course, take a deeper look at the stats, Diaz does hold a narrow edge in terms of efficiency, work rate, and creativity. Rashford, however, remains a lethal finisher in transition, and he does thrive in direct systems, while Diaz is more involved in overall build-up and the pressing stages. Whilst Rashford can offer that elite verticality and the goal threat on the break, as mentioned before, he does thrive in transition-heavy systems, which has space, which is going to be less common in La Liga, and against deep blocks he will struggle to create separation or combine intricately. Diaz, on the other hand, is a high energy presser. He does combine well in short spaces, pulls defenders out with wide drifts, and creates overloads with overlapping fullbacks. He fits naturally in both Flick's pressing and positional play models. From a business and financial point of view, neither deal is going to be cheap. Diaz may be between 50 to 70 million euros with a salary between 7 and 9 million per year. Rashford's wages are already higher, and United may try and push for a higher fee or potential swap deal with Barcelona. But if we're looking at the two players strategically, Diaz is more the plug and play. Rashford would require tactical adaptation, mental reconditioning, and positional reshaping. Barcelona don't have time for long-term projects. They need impact now. If Barcelona was smart, they would go with Luis Diaz. He's the smarter, safer, and more complete choice. He fits Flick's football to a T, relentless pressing, explosive 1v1s, and positional versatility. He complements Lamine Yamal on the right, creates space for Lewandowski centrally, and allows interior midfielders like Gavi, Olmo, Fermin to flourish. Rashford may still have a place in football's elite, but at Barcelona at this moment in time, Luis Diaz is the right move. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Who should Barcelona sign in the summer? If you are a Manchester United or Liverpool fan, do you want any of these guys to go? Let me know. Peace.